Matic price update today. Is it a buy, a short, or a hold? We're going to discuss all three. We're going to look at evidence for buying, shorting, or holding. We're going to look at some indicators. And then finally, at the end, I'll give you my personal opinion and a meme to back it up with. So let's get right to it. Starting off on the daily picture, we're going to look at multiple time frames. We're going to start right in the middle, daily. We're going to go up to the weekly. We're going to go down to the hourly. And we're going to look at certain specific, resistance, support levels, and that's how you decide whether or not you long, short, or hold on to it, right? So right now, what do we got? Just based on the evidence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Working on our sixth green daily candle. So each of these candles is a day. You got that right. Now, what do we have here? Well, this long wick at the top indicates selling pressure so far, right? We haven't closed the candle, or we still have almost 9 hours to go as of recording. Now, once you've watched this, maybe you know where this closed. If we close under the 34, what would that mean? Well, that would not be a significantly great sign, because not only do you have selling pressure to the downside, you're also closing right under a moving average. That is the EMA 34 moving average, which we have not closed above since early April, right? So if we close under that again, odds would just simply increase, because that's all you have in crypto or trading at all is the odds, and you want to stack whatever most evidence you can find in the odds in your favor. So the odds would simply increase of this going, at least for a temporary drawback, which would indicate a short so far on the daily. Not only that, but you need to always be looking left in what's happened in history. And are you close not only in resistance for moving averages, but are you close to resistance on previous consolidation? So if your answer is yes, we do look close to resistance on previous consolidation, then you would be right. And let me reiterate this certain level. So lines are okay. I prefer kind of zones. So I would look at this kind of zone right there. You got your lowest closing candle here on your initial drop. You got another closing candle here. That's your lowest close before your break right here. That happened on June 11th. And basically sideways, you're trying to hold that level for about 30 days, and then you broke it. So now what are we doing? After our deep dive plunge in all of crypto, we're now making a rally. Is it just a relief rally? It could be. Could it be a recovery rally? When a recovery would just kind of blast right through this. So could we do that? Sure. Are the odds that we go continue up or continue down? Well, it depends on where this candle closes. Like I said at the beginning, if we close under the MA 34, if we close under this resistance zone, which is about 57 cents, then the odds would be that, yeah, this was just a relief rally and we're probably going to continue the trend. What trend? Well, whatever trend you're in, based on what you're clicking, what time frame you're clicking, there's your trend. Look at the beginning and look where you are now. Which direction is that? That's down, right? So if the trend is your friend, and it should be till the end, yeah, you're probably going to come back down here, right? Which would indicate, again, a short. So that's evidence for a short so far. Is there evidence for a long? Well, we're building there, right? Because we have several greens, right? We're coming, but we don't have a cross yet. We don't have a cross of our moving averages, which you want to see, right? You want your moving averages sorted least to great. And right now they're sorted greatest to least. And what do I mean by that? You have your 200 up here, your 100, your 50, 34, 21, 8, sales numbers are decreasing, right? You got to flip that back around. Like, think of a bull run, right? So if you invert this chart, it should look like a bullish momentum up. And if you were to have a pullback after, this bullish movement, you'd kind of want to hold this zone, right? Because if you broke above this, right, if you got down into this area, what would you think? You might be in trouble, right? You might continue in this direction. Okay, right? Flip it back. So if we break and start closing above this zone, then we might have a continuation or a reason too long. But until that happens, your odds are shorting is your best bet at this moment of time, right? As of recording, not as of tomorrow or as of last week, as of right now, until we close this candle, shorting is got the favor still. Why not hold? Well, hold if you bought down in here, sure. Maybe you're waiting to see what we do, right? So it's not always a clear cut, is rarely a clear cut buy, sell, or hold, right? You got to look at the evidence, and it depends on also where you bought, or did you buy up here, right? If you bought up here, it's probably not a hold, right? It's probably a sell right at this point, right? Maybe you're holding just to wait to see what we do, but more likely than not, right? What are the odds, right? The evidence is stacking up that this is a pretty decent short setup. Now, what happens if you short and it goes up, Chase? I'm glad you asked. You have a stop loss just above your previous high wick here. So if you want to be super safe, you can go above all these wicks, but you're probably looking a little bit, you're probably stand to lose a little bit too much if you're doing that. So I recommend shorting at resistance levels with tighter stop losses, maybe your previous high. So if you go above this top candle, you're about 10%, right? So mark a stop loss right around, 58, 59 cents. Excuse me, that is not correct. 58. We're looking at, to add a nickel here, we're looking at about 64 cents. If you want to be safe, 64 cents. Because if you tap 64, you've just taken out this wick, right? You're pushing even higher. So, and then you're just cut out of your position and wait to see, right? There's a whole lot of other things that go into that, but that's briefly how you kind of start to learn to short and long, okay? So if you want to know more of that, I have a Telegram channel. You can find that link below. I'm glad to help you out there as well. So that is the daily. Now you need to also look at multiple time frames when you're thinking about buying or shorting or holding, right? You want to always be familiar with multiple time frames, but usually you only want to, one should be your favorite. About 80%, that's what you want to stick to. And I recommend the daily, but you also want to, look at the weekly, know what you're doing in the big picture, and then zoom in. So let's start with the weekly and see what that looks like. Now this level all of a sudden doesn't look that significant on the weekly, right? Right. What is the significant thing on the weekly? Well, where do you see we've been closing resistance for several weeks? If you guess the EMA 8-week EMA, you would be guessed correctly. Bewitched. So the last time we closed above that was in March. And now that is where any kind of weekly rally or a wick, sell these wicks, we haven't even engaged with that 8-week EMA. And that was the last time we maybe touched it back in April. Okay, so there's no guarantee that we have to get up here, but this is looking good so far. As long as we can close above 50 cents this week and 2 days, 9 hours, then the evidence would shift of at least maybe of more of a sustainable week over week rally, because this would be a bullish engulfing candle if we can in fact print that. And last week we had the lower wick, which indicates, upwards momentum buying pressure. So some people stepped in and bought the dip, so to speak. So that's the weekly. Big picture, there you are. Now how about the shorter picture? Zoom into the 4 hour. That's what I would start with, and then you can even go to the hourly if you want. So does this look like a resistance level on the 4 hour? Yeah. Are we in that zone? Yeah. On the 4 hour, we're right in that zone, right? Same thing, untouched from the daily. So look at where we are, right? We're in the indecision level. If we start to close outside of here, then the odds start to shift a little bit more towards that short, right? If we start to close up here, the odds would start to pull it towards a buy or a continuation move to the upside. Maybe a hold even if you bought down in this area. Now, that would just be your evidence swaying. So say you were right in here, right? We don't really know, have a lot of information that we can extract from the 4 hour. So zoom in a little bit more. How about the hourly? Do we have anything else? Well, yeah, here's those same levels, right? Here's this nice bull pattern. That's looking pretty good, right? But again, if you start to close, look, you got to look at previous moves, right? Look what happened back here. The 21 EMA held. What about back here? Not really much. What about the previous moves up? Look, the yellow 21 EMA held. Look, the yellow 21 EMA held. Look what happened once it started breaking, right? We continue down. Look at where we are right now. So far it's held, right? But we haven't closed this 1 hour candle. That closes in 39 minutes. See where that does, right? So the last time we closed under the 21 EMA on the hourly chart, we continued down. How much down? Well, let's take a look. Let's look at that. About 7%. You can make some good money off of a 7% move if you're shorting, right? Or longing, right? 7% up, 7% down. Those are nice little profitable takes if you're, that guy or girl, and you're wanting to, learn to short, then I would suggest try it. Get your feet wet. But I would suggest doing the minimal amount until you take some losses and some little bit of scar tissues or some whips to your hands. I don't know where I'm going with that, but hopefully this is helping you a little bit. Let's look at some indicators. Do indicators help you? They can on the daily a little bit. I would really primarily rely on the support and resistance levels, one, and moving averages. That's really all you need to short or long. You want to be longing at support or buying. You want to be shorting at resistance, right? Or selling, right? So that's how you do it. So momentum, stochastic RSI on the daily, we got some momentum peaked up here. So that's good. As long as we're up here, we're still got the pedal to the metal, no problems. But, you can be on the highway going, 100 miles an hour and things can turn sour quickly, right? So you want to be watching your stochastic RSI for a downturn back in this shaded area. But so far, so good on the daily. RSI, well, we haven't been above 50 since almost March, April, right? So we're gaining strength. Anything above 50, you're starting to, get pumped up. Anything under here is just a sign of weakness. Relative strength index, RSI, that's what that means. How strong is that move, right? How strong is the coin right now? We're starting to gain there, but is it losing steam? We don't know. We got to see where this closes at. But on the daily, you want to do this on the same thing you did with the price. You want to start off with the daily, and then go to the weekly, and then go to the 4 hour, to the 1 hour, and see where you are in the short term and the long term, right? And then make your decision based on who's got the most evidence, the short guy, the long guy, or the hold guy, right? That's how you do it. So what else is important? Well, we have the ADX and DI, average directional index. That is the orange line. And then your DI is in the red and green. Green you can look at as bulls. Red you can look at as bears. So the bulls have crossed for the first time in a while, right? Since March 23rd is the last time we got this cross. But guess what? It was short-lived, right? Didn't last more than a handful of days. Then came back down again, right? Look at your ADX, right? When your ADX is this low, it's pretty insignificant. You really want your ADX up here, above 25, really, to have any kind of weight. If you're above, 40, then you're really, starting to gain a lot of strength in that direction, whoever's on top. So right now we do have the bulls on top. And the ADX is holding up here. You don't want to see the ADX crossing down, because that means, the bulls are losing strength, right? So that's the daily, right? I'm trying to keep this as brief as possible while keeping it as educational and unboring as possible. I don't know if that's even possible. So let's look at the weekly chart. And now what do we got? Well, look at your RSI on the weekly, right? It has bounced, but still pretty insignificant on the bigger picture, right? Think of it as a big bicycle, right? We've stopped, and now you're trying to start in the highest gear, right? It's slow moving, right? So we don't have any massive movement yet. Could we come back down? Of course, right? We have no strength on the bigger picture until we get about 50. 50 is kind of the secret. There's not a coincidence. There's a dotted line there, right? I didn't add that. It defaults to that. Once you're up here, you really start to get more bullish. And when you're down here, you really don't have the strength to do much of anything. So on the bigger picture, the weekly chart, not much strength, zero momentum, but we're trying, right? We're trying to get the boat going again. But until we get up in here and confirm with both of these lines, the blue is the stochastic and the red is the average of the blue. So we need both of these up in here to really get a sustained momentum move, to put the bike over the hill, so to speak. Go with me on that. All right. So how about the ADX and the I, what we just looked at? Well, on the bigger picture, which is the more important one, the bears are still big time in charge. Not only that, but the ADX is curving up with the bears in charge. So the bears are actually getting a little bit stronger. But what did I say? We're still under 25, so pretty insignificant as far as strength. Until we get above 25, 25 is kind of your magic number. on that, and you can kind of go back in history and kind of look at where your ADX is above or below 25, and you really can see the swings. So, be a student. Don't be a follower. Don't just watch YouTube videos forever for the rest of your life. Try to learn something. Go back. Go look at history. What has happened in history based on the indicators that you've heard about, not just from me, but from others, right? So there you go. How about anything else? Not really. MACD, I don't really pay much attention to. Weekly MACD is okay. We're trying to level off here. You can see we're trying to close, but really until you see this MACD really bouncing up, and not only that, both of these lines really kind of bouncing up, which we don't have yet on the bigger picture. So how about the shorter picture, the 4 hour, right? So we're almost done. Bear with me. So the RSI is strong on the 4 hour, right? The shorter time frame. This is why you're having all these moves. Look how strong it is, right? What do we talk about? Above 50? Yeah, it's well above 50. 74. It even got above 80 briefly, right? Momentum cranked out, right? Highway pedal to the metal, doing good. Bulls in charge, right? ADX and DI looking good there. The shorter time frame, the bulls are in charge and gaining strength, looking good there. But the shorter the time frame, the faster it can change. So keep that in mind as well. So that is that for Matic. Hopefully that helped you a lot. Let me know. Maybe I'll try this format. I got to try something different. But we're not growing doing the other shit. So I'm going to try to do maybe some more altcoins and do the kind of the buy, short, or hold kind of for just a variety of coins. Maybe you like that better. Maybe I'll just do some kind of very similar format for various coins on, each a different day. So let me know if you like that in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up. We'll see how this video does. Obviously I haven't covered Matic in a while, but it's an important coin. I think it'll do very well moving forward. But for the short time frame, I mean, why not make money shorting if you can make money shorting, right? Don't get married to your coins just because you have more Matic than anything else. I've been in that boat. Doesn't mean you can't profit from it going down. Or just because you're shorting something doesn't mean you don't like that coin, right? You don't have to have any emotional bias attached to it. Just whatever's performing great, you should probably be longing, and wherever's performing poorly, maybe you should be shorting or at resistance, right? They don't even have to be performing good, right? Matic is outperformed most the past couple of days, but I mean, look at the evidence for the resistance levels, right? It's you can invert your charts and you can see, right? This is a key level for sure on this chart, right? Looking at it inverted, looking at it this way, right? This is the swing point. Is it going to continue and break through? Maybe it comes through up here, gets to the top of the Bollinger Bands and then holds this as support. That would be very bullish, right? That would be a bullish sign. But the odds say right now that if this candle closes under the MA34, that we're shorting. So to give my blatant argument, long, short, or hold, it's a little short. Danny DeVito, Wolverine, it's short, little short, short-term short. All right, quote of the day. A photograph, this is a deep one. A photograph is a secret about a secret. The more it tells you, the less you know. I'll let you have a few minutes with that one. All right, car of the day. Lamborghini Murcielago Roadster. Love the Roadster. But I've heard that the tops on these are the worst in any car manufacturer's history. I've seen some videos on YouTube with people trying to, hours to put like the soft top on here. So I would recommend, if you're thinking of picking one up in the future, that you live in a sunny area and you never need to put on said top. Okay, there's a yellow one, my choice. I do like the green one as well. I think I got one right. It's right there, right there. That's a green Murcielago Roadster right there. And I do like black wheels. I'm a big fan of black wheels. So I do like this red. I don't know if I'd get a Lamborghini in red. Kind of reserve that for resale red for a Ferrari. But I mean, I got the Chernobyl salmon, so shirt on, so might as well hop in that thing. All right, I'll end it there, and let me know your thoughts on this newish format, potential newish format, right? If it does well, we'll do more. If it doesn't do well, I quit. I'm going to go play baseball. I don't even play baseball. Might as well do that.